Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to get started right on the top of the hour, so feel free to go get some more water or whatever you need, and we'll be back soon. Thank you. Okay, hello everyone. It is now the top of the hour, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Megan Snyder, and I am GiveSmart's Customer Marketing Manager. And I am thrilled to have each of you here with us today for our session discussing how to run a successful peer-to-peer campaign. During this conversation, we'll be sharing a bit about peer-to-peer best practices, steps to take to support your fundraisers, see a few campaign examples, and learn how our customer success team is here to help you be successful. Let's go ahead and get started. So let's take a moment to meet today's speakers. Joining us today, we have Leah. Leah, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Leah Leibold. I'm a manager of professional services at GiveSmart. That means that I work with a team of former nonprofit and marketing professionals that help our customers use the GiveSmart platform to the best of their ability. My background is a nonprofit, so I'm really excited to be here and use some of my real life experience talking to you about peer-to-peer fundraising.
Thanks, Leah. And then we also have Lori. Lori, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself as well.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Lori Maxwell. I am a fundraising technology advisor here at GiveSmart, and I work on the services team. I also do have some experience and background in the nonprofit space, working as an event manager, actually on the GiveSmart platform. That is the platform that we use. And I have to say that I just really love peer-to-peer, and I'm excited to be able to share that with you all today. I think it's an incredible asset for organizations who are looking to kind of find new avenues to engage their supporters. So very happy to be here, and thank you all for joining.
Thank you, Lori. And last but not least, sorry, Chelsea. We have Chelsea. Please go ahead and introduce yourself too.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chelsea Wilson. I'm the manager of product marketing at GiveSmart. I also come from a nonprofit background and spent a lot of years at a few different organizations, fundraising and event planning. So similarly come from that background and just really excited to be with you guys today.
And thank you three so much for taking the time to be here with us. I'm excited for what you guys are going to bring to this conversation. So just a few housekeeping things before we get going. Please feel free to use the Q&A box for any questions that you might have as we go, and make sure to check the chat box for resources and different links that we're going to be sharing throughout the webinar. Our colleague Kelsey is helping us out on the back end today, so feel free to keep those questions coming. So let's take a moment to review today's agenda so you know what to expect for this session. We are slated for an hour for this conversation today. May wrap a little early, we may go right up to the hour, so we'll just see. But for today, we're going to do a quick overview of fundraise and peer-to-peer fundraising, share a handful of data points to support peer-to-peer, go over some best practices and features to focus on, walk through the available resources for our customers. We'll pause for a quick poll question, and then we'll review some customer examples that are peer-to-peer campaigns. And then we'll end the call with some time for Q&A. As I mentioned earlier, this session is being recorded and will be sent out to all who registered. This session is also meant to inform you of what fundraise and peer-to-peer fundraising is and how it can improve your fundraising strategy. This is not meant to be a training session. If you're looking for a training session, please reach out to our services team or visit the Help Center. Remember to keep the questions coming. We'll answer some live and save some for the end. And if for some reason we are unable to answer your question, we'll make sure to mark it down and have a member of our team follow up with you. And also, we want your input. So if you have ideas to share or lessons learned, please send those messages in the chat so we can incorporate your ideas and feedback into our call. Okay, thank you guys for letting me get through that important information up front. So now let's go ahead and dive into today's conversation. Chelsea, I'll pass it over to you.
Thanks, Megan. All right, let's dive in. So since we'll be focusing on the peer-to-peer function and the GiveSmart Fundraise module today, I'll start with a quick overview of Fundraise. So GiveSmart's vision has been to bring together best-in-class solutions to create a unified one-stop shop fundraising tool and really creating the ultimate fundraising solution for you. So building on GiveSmart's strengths as event and auction management, we built on added capabilities for stronger year-round and digital fundraising solutions through acquisition of MobileCause in 2021, which is now known as GiveSmart Fundraise. And to round out our capabilities, we also acquired Simply Fundraising CRM in 2022 to provide donor management and CRM tools as part of the suite of solutions. And that is now known as GiveSmart Donor CRM. Altogether, these provide everything needed to manage an expansive fundraising strategy all year round and manage donors, reporting, and stewardship as well. We know that organizations typically want to consolidate their tech stacks and have less to juggle. So it's our goal and our vision to provide one partner, one vendor, one contract, one point of contact for your year-round fundraising and event strategy, and to empower you with donor insights and engagement tools. So each area of our fundraising suite that you see on the screen here has different strengths and capabilities that contribute to an overall strategy. And as you heard in our introductions, our team is also built by fundraisers who have been part of the industry for many years and have been in your shoes. So we have the expertise and the passion for fundraising success to really help you build out your campaign strategy and your donor communication plans. We are here to be your partner and guide you in the most effective way to use GiveSmart tools and modules for ultimate fundraising success and really help you move your mission forward. And today you are here to learn more about that top circle, Fundraise, and specifically focusing in on its peer-to-peer functionality. So on the next slide here, what is peer-to-peer? Peer-to-peer involves volunteer fundraising ambassadors, usually families, supporters, community partners, volunteers, board members who raise money for your organization through personal outreach for donations. So funds raised can support programs that directly impact volunteer fundraisers like supplies, supporting programs or special projects. And this is often used to fundraise for more broad programs as well through involvement by the entire community. A key element of a peer-to-peer, or also often called P2P, you may hear us say that throughout the presentation today. A key element of a P2P campaign is that each individual fundraiser or supporter has their own personal fundraising page or profile where they're inviting their network to contribute. Whereas traditional crowdfunding is typically a single page or effort for the organization where all donors are directed. So this peer-to-peer format creates opportunity for personal ownership, storytelling, customization, engagement, and gamification. We all know a little friendly competition tends to inspire participation and has great results. So that's one of the great pieces of peer-to-peer. Fundraisers love to see their individual status bars grow closer to their goal amount. And GiveSmart Fundraise also has a commenting tool for direct engagement right on the P2P site so that fundraisers and donors can actually create even more excitement through conversation right on the page. One of the other benefits of P2P is that it can be a standalone campaign and that's simple to set up and participate in, geared towards specific needs or projects or a specific time of the year. Or it can also be paired with a larger event or a larger campaign effort. And this approach is especially common with things like a run or a walk or any other like a thon activity type of event that you've probably seen. If you have been on the fence about getting into peer-to-peer and not really sure you want to dive in there, one way to look at it is a supporter or a donor may not have $500 to give personally, but they probably know 25 people who would give $20, and your support network grows and expands and really branches out like a tree from there. As a side note, 62% of peer-to-peer supporters are new to the organization, so it's a great way to expand your reach. So what do we see happening in the market related to peer-to-peer? It's really common to see a couple of approaches to P2P campaigns. One is a rolling approach. So this is without a time limit or a deadline. It may be tied to an event, but mostly it's just an independent campaign of all else. The other more common format is time-based, creating a sense of urgency around an event, a topic, a date, a deadline, a specific project. Peer-to-peer is often used with the goal of expanding your reach and broadening the network of supporters because, again, the majority of peer-to-peer participants that are donating to an individual fundraiser are totally new names in your database. So you have that snowball effect. If your event is fun, participants will come back year after year along with them bringing new supporters each time. It gives an opportunity for supporters to be involved in a different way. So whether they want to be more actively involved in a way other than giving money or writing checks, or if they want to support but aren't in a position to make a financial contribution, it's a great way to engage your existing network and build donor loyalty through their involvement and really just inspire excitement for your mission by them having that direct involvement. As a whole, the nonprofit and events industry has really made a clear shift back toward in-person and live events, and with virtual or hybrid formats holding a much smaller space in the market right now. However, peer-to-peer is a way to still offer a virtual participation option and to maintain some of the benefits that we found from virtual formats over the past few years, such as broader participation footprint, and also provides a safe and comfortable way to participate in fundraising for those who may not be keen on in-person events right now. And as a bonus, peer-to-peer is much easier and requires a lot less resources to set up than a full-scale virtual or hybrid event tends to be. Since a huge aspect of a peer-to-peer campaign usually involves sharing across social networks, peer-to-peer is a fantastic way to grow your organization's social media presence. Include links to your org's social pages and fundraiser communications, and be sure to include relevant posts on your pages during a peer-to-peer campaign to support the overall effort. Peer-to-peer also enables your organization to appeal to and connect with the younger demographics, with Gen Z, if that's your target, who are accustomed to and expect to be able to engage online. This is also a really socially responsible group, typically, who is particularly drawn to inclusive organizations whose clear values align with their own. So if that's your target group, peer-to-peer is a great way to get in front of them. And according to the State of Modern Philanthropy, the median amount raised by events and with peer-to-peer fundraising pages is typically about 4.5 times greater than ticketed events. So again, if you're looking for a cost-effective way to raise funds, peer-to-peer just may be the best fit for you. So whether your goal is to engage and steward your existing donors, expand your social media reach and brand awareness, or raise money, peer-to-peer is truly one of the easiest and most engaging ways to achieve those goals. So on this slide, we have some data insights specific to GiveSmart customers last year. My favorite stat about P2P is that on average, 62% of donors giving in a P2P campaign are brand new contacts for an organization's database. This is the third time I've mentioned that. So clearly, I think it's pretty important. That's huge since we're all trying to spread awareness of our mission and expand our reach to grow our supporter network. This is literally one of the easiest and most effective ways to get your brand and your mission in front of new faces, virtually speaking, particularly with the social media presence and the sharing format your individual fundraisers will employ on their social networks. So a few other stats to call out that really serve as proof points to the effectiveness of peer-to-peer fundraising. Over 1,500 organizations ran peer-to-peer campaigns in 2022 with GiveSmart. And of those, they ran over 4,200 peer-to-peer events or activities. So they were running multiple peer-to-peer campaigns, finding success with those. And over $58 million was raised in total through peer-to-peer in 2022 with GiveSmart. 25 was the average number of fundraisers participating in an event or activity. $90 was the average amount donated to a peer-to-peer activity or event. And 118 donors was the average number of donors to the whole peer-to-peer event or campaign. So great stats to mull over in your mind there. And now that we have laid the foundation for peer-to-peer fundraising, I will pass it over to Leah to share some best practices and how to really get started.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about best practices for peer-to-peer strategy. So when you're setting up your campaign, there are two primary ways that people set up their fundraisers. They're either paid participation or unpaid participation. Paid, think about runs, walks, swims, and rides. You can set up a ticketing form, for example, and turn on a feature that allows people to seamlessly, after buying their tickets for, say, your run, your 5K, they'll buy their ticket and seamlessly be able to sign up to create their fundraiser page as soon as they could finish that transaction. Then unpaid participation are, days of giving, annual giving campaigns, board campaigns, where you're giving to the mission. It's not part of a overall party or event or 5K. Both are very popular. I would say it's probably a 50-50 split between, if you're doing paid participation with a run, walk, swim, or if you're doing unpaid participation, such as a board, a board campaign. But not every activity has to be tied to events. This is a really great way to, peer-to-peer fundraising is a really great way to share your organization's mission or story through the campaign. You can, one of the things that I recommend doing is putting together some talking points or messaging that you can give to your volunteer fundraisers so they can adapt that and speak to why they support their mission from their personal point of view. And lots of times that's what inspires their friends and family and their greater network to want to support your organization, because they see how passionately their friend speaks and your volunteer fundraiser speaks about the organization and what it means to them personally. So help your fundraisers, craft their message that they're going to share with their friends and family to tell their why and why they're fundraising. Having a peer-to-peer campaign is a great way for you to activate your network and help get your network to bring their networks in. So essentially, you're amplifying your reach in your community because you have all these little micro influencers, essentially, who are your P2P fundraisers that are engaging with their networks and introducing your cause to their networks. Gamification is a really fun way to get people excited. It's Girl Scout cookie time right now. So I'm thinking of how when I was a Girl Scout way back in the day, they made it really exciting for us to raise money for cookies by having different awards and recognition and prizes for winning, or it's not winning, but raising a lot for the organization. So gamification is a way to get your fundraisers excited and moving and working towards your goal, and helps to motivate them too. Part of the gamification is to make sure that you are sharing your impact and results often, and encouraging your participants to share their results as well. One of the things I love about Fundraise is that we have the text capability, and you're able to go in there and get a text, get a list of just the people who have signed up as fundraisers and send out a text to them. Like, we've met our goal with 3 days left. Thank you so much. Here's an opportunity for you to share this with your sponsors. So you can use, and Lori will go into this later in the call, how the platform works, but we have a lot of features that really allow you to communicate with your donor, with your fundraisers, to encourage them to be the best fundraisers they can. Plus, we also have easy, if you look over here, easy one-click sharing for your fundraisers. You'll put the default language in, they can click Facebook and then share their personal page on their Facebook page with some of the default language that you already popped in there. So it's super easy. Let's take a look at the next slide. All right, so here are some things to do when you're setting up your P2P campaign. GiveSmart Fundraise has a ton of features that are really great and will really help you get the most out of your campaign. For example, all of the peer-to-peer fundraising pages are mobile optimized. That means it doesn't matter what size screen, whether they're looking at their desktop at home, their laptop, on their tablet, on their phone, it'll be easy to, it's not going to be warped. It's mobile optimized. They'll be able to see it with full integrity. They'll be able to see, there's also a thermometer that will track progress towards the goal. Not only will it track progress towards the overall goal, but it'll track progress towards individual goals. Here we have different chapters of a fraternity alumni group, and you can see the leaderboard and what chapters are ahead and raising money for their fraternity. And that's really exciting and helps to motivate people. And, each chapter or organization or subgroup or team probably has a different goal, because, they have different needs and capacity and things like that. So it's really nice that you're working towards your personal goal and not somebody else's goal. We have, there's also comments feature that allows for easy thinking and encouragement, and then one of the things that's really great is recurring donations. And the reason recurring donations is great, especially for peer-to-peer fundraising, is a lot of times the people who are giving to your organization, this is one of their first interactions with you because they're a friend of a supporter of your organization. And if you can get them to, not, instead of giving the $20 that they had planned to give a monthly gift of $10, then you have the opportunity to continue to engage with them, and they have more value for your organization over their lifetime. The average recurring donor will give 50% more over their lifetime than a one-time donor, which is really a great feature for your organization. We also have something called encourage recurring donations, which means if somebody chooses to make a one-time gift, we have a pop-up afterwards that says, are you sure you don't want to make this smaller gift monthly instead, which really encourages people to give monthly. We also have some really great matching features. We currently have a partnership with Amply that's really great, that allows an organization to allows a donor to easily and seamlessly get a match from their company if their company offers matching. We are also in the process of working on a partnership with Double the Donations. So no matter which matching platform you use, we'll have two available that will be seamlessly integrated with our GiveSmart fundraise forms, and will allow people to really easily get that gift with little work for your organization. Some other things that you can do to really make your peer-to-peer campaign effective are to create supporting documentations like FAQs, templates. I talked a little bit about talking points and different materials that really help your fundraisers do the best they can and help them help answer any questions they have, and make it a seamless process for them. They don't have to think about it too much. They can just look at the materials that you gave them in order to actively participate without too much thought. Finally, all of having multiple payment options allows for people, for as many people as possible, to give in a way that is easy for them, whether it's Apple Pay, just a straight credit card, Google Pay, PayPal. All those things make it easy. Having multiple ways to give allows more people to give. Let's take a look at the next slide. I talked a little bit about gamification before. Here are some ideas for gamification. Of course, you have your races. You have your runs, walks, swims, rides. You make that a competition. You can have awards for not just the fastest runner or the person to cross the finish line first, but you can have awards for the person who raised the most money, or the person who brought in who had the most donors give to their campaign, or there's a lot of different ways to incentivize fundraising and make it exciting for the participants without necessarily so that people at any capability, whether you can swim really fast or not, you can still get an award and get that recognition for raising a lot of money. People, a lot of our organizations lately have been thinking outside the box as far as games and opportunities for fundraising and peer-to-peer fundraising. They've done cornhole. I've had an organization that has done skeet shooting, rock climbing. There's no limit to what kind of activities you can have and integrate peer-to-peer fundraising with. You just have to think about, what do people in our community love to do, and let's find a way to gamify that and make it and create a peer-to-peer fundraiser. We have golf events, scavenger hunts, amazing race. So for example, for scavenger hunts or amazing race type activities, the team gets an extra clue or something once they hit a certain amount of funds raised, or a certain number of donors on their page. Trivia, similar to scavenger hunts, if you raise a certain amount of money or number of donors, you get extra clues or an extra point added to your score for every 100, 250, etc. raised. There's lots of ways to make this really fun for everybody and get people excited to fundraise for your organization. All right, so next slide. I talked a little bit about this before, but when I talked about having FAQs available, but the best way to help your fundraisers be successful is to make it easy for them. Give them templates, give them fundraiser toolkits with tips and tricks and activation guides. Let them know about the incentives. Talking about those Girl Scouts again. Those Girl Scouts get a sweatshirt if they sell a certain number of boxes. If you get a certain number of fundraisers, you maybe get some local businesses to donate gift cards. So if you have some prizes for people as they're raising money for your organization, and you can put those and describe those incentives in the toolkit. The key is you want to make it as easy and seamless for somebody to raise money for your organization. People get really excited, they sign up to be a fundraiser, and then they're like, what do I do next? Tell them what to do. Say, here's an idea of what you can send out in a text message. Here's an idea of what you can send out in an email. And here's a sample calendar of when you should send this out to people. And here are some talking points. If you run into your friend at the grocery store, this is how you can, if they ask you what you've been up to, you can say, I've been raising money for my favorite organization, and give them some talking points about that. So you make it, people have their day jobs and they're doing this out of the goodness of their heart and for fun. And so you want to make it easy for them to be successful, and so that they're excited and they tell more people. All right, next slide. And I know I've gone through a lot of, different ideas for strategizing for your peer-to-peer fundraiser, but we have some really great available resources. They're putting the links in the chat for you guys. I think they're also going to send them out in an email afterwards, but we have a peer-to-peer fundraising playbook, how to set up a successful campaign, peer-to-peer fundraiser toolkit, which is a checklist of materials that are helpful to have in a peer-to-peer fundraiser toolkit that you give to your fundraisers, and some other resources like 6 strategies to boost peer-to-peer giving, and a fundraising guide about creating your perfect peer-to-peer fundraising campaign. There's no shortage of resources. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Leah. Yeah, and I believe Kelsey was putting those resources in the chat for us. So hopefully you guys can all take a minute and save those. But yes, I will definitely be sharing those in our follow-up email as well. So thank you, Chelsea, and thank you, Leah, for sharing so much information with us about some data and the best practices. I know that we all appreciate it. And hopefully some of the resources that we shared in the chat will be helpful for you guys and for your fundraisers to meet those goals that you set. Now I'm really excited to dive into some of the peer-to-peer features that will help support your efforts as well. So Lori, I will go ahead and pass it to you to take it away.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, so we're going to first here talk about some of the fundraising options that you'll see when you are setting up your peer-to-peer campaign on GiveSmart. So when you are initially creating your peer-to-peer campaign page, you're going to be able to choose how you would like to structure your campaign. And this is going to allow you to either include team, individual fundraisers, or both. So you can make that decision. And then when one of your supporters visits the page, they're going to have the opportunity to sign up to fundraise. If you are using the Teams feature, volunteers will be given the option to either join or create a brand new team after they sign up to be a fundraiser. Each team can have a team captain, and that person, of course, is going to be able to kind of oversee the collection of team donations and activities. Now, as an organization, you will have access to the team pages through your team manager. So while the team captain is kind of in charge of that team, and ideally we want to give them all of the autonomy they need to take care of that themselves, I think it is important for the organization to be able to keep an eye on things. So on your team manager page, you will have the access where you can track progress of the team pages, assist in updating or making edits to the page. You can also kind of pre-sign up, go ahead and set some team defaults here. So that allows you to suggest photos to use, messaging, team goals, things of that nature to really set your teams up for success so they aren't starting from scratch and they have something to build upon. Now, if a supporter doesn't want to join or create a team, they instead will be able to create an individual fundraising page. Now, these fundraising pages, much like we just talked about with your team pages, can also be managed by the organization, and that occurs on the fundraiser dashboard. So again, just like we talked about with the team manager, you can track progress here, edit pages, set fundraising defaults, and that again will include setting goals, providing messaging, things of that nature. Now, each of these team and individual fundraising pages will have their own goal. And of course, we want to encourage all of those folks to reach that goal, and it will be reflected on the page with a progress bar that we will talk about in more detail in just a couple of minutes. On this page, they will also be able to add their own profile photo and messaging, really to let their networks know their why. I think it's important, to encourage people to let their passion show. We want to know why you're here. Why are you fundraising? And why do you feel so strongly about this organization? On their campaign page, they will also have their own unique keyword that is tied to the larger campaign. And once a volunteer raises money, not only will that raise their personal goal bar, a progress bar, but it's also going to then roll up to the progress bar of the team and then further up to the progress bar on the general campaign page. So all of those donations are going to kind of work together, roll up to meet the larger overall campaign goal. Next slide, please. When you are setting up your campaign page initially, you're also going to see a lot of different options and opportunities for customization. This is going to include the theme, the branding, the color scheme. You'll be able to add or remove certain content as needed, and this can include photos or videos in a highlighted media carousel up at the top of the page. This page is going to determine the look and feel of all of the connected pages as well. So this is where you can set certain stylistic options and images that all of your individual fundraisers and teams cannot change. So that's going to include the background image, the accent and button colors. All of those are set by you all as an organization. The choices here will cascade through all of the different pages, and that helps to make sure that your brand is accurately reflected across the board. Now, you can also customize the online donation form for your peer-to-peer campaign, as well as the registration form, which we kind of touched on earlier with the paid versus unpaid registration. When you're customizing these forms, it's going to look and feel very similar to when you customize a text donate form on GiveSmart. You're going to, particularly on the online donation form, you'll be able to determine your suggested donation amounts, your recurring giving options. You can add custom questions, make questions required so that donors have to provide certain information on this form. Two of the main benefits and features on this form specifically that refer clearly to peer-to-peer campaigning, and I love these, they're so great, are number one, a donor can choose a fundraiser to support directly from this form using our peer-to-peer attributions. They have a drop-down menu on this form. They can choose exactly who they want these funds to support. And number two, you can offer the opportunity to your donors to sign up to fundraise at the same time that they're making their own donation. So if they're coming, they elect to make a donation, they click one little checkbox, they're actually going to immediately be taken to create their own page as soon as they finalize that donation. Next slide. This was mentioned a little bit, I think earlier, Leah kind of hinted at this, and this is our in-app messaging feature, which allows you to communicate with your supporters, with those folks who have signed up to fundraise on your behalf. Now, at a certain point during this campaign, you're likely going to want or even need to communicate with people. You might need to let them know that the campaign's about to start. You might want to inform them who's in the lead, remind them of those weekly challenges and incentives, check in with them to just make sure that they have what they need to succeed. You can do that directly on the platform when you enable in-app messaging. So you're going to be able to reach all of your supporters directly. They will be notified of that communication, and they can respond back directly on the platform as well. So this keeps the lines of communication open, but not only just between you and your volunteers, but also between team captains and their team members, donors. The whole gamut of people who are engaged with your campaign are able to be communicated with and also respond using this in-app messaging feature. The next thing that we'll talk about here is the leaderboard. Now, the leaderboard is such an amazing tool, as I think has been mentioned a couple of times already, but a really great way for not only that recognition piece. You want to let people know when they're doing a good job, and you want them to kind of, have that moment to shine. I think it's also good to create that competitive atmosphere and really allow people to kind of have fun with trying to beat each other out. So when you're creating your peer-to-peer campaign, one of the options that you're going to set up when you're initially creating the campaign page is the leaderboard. So when you're there, you're going to choose, what do we need a leaderboard for? Do we have both teams and individuals, or do we just need to show teams? Do we just need to show individuals? So you can show one or two leaderboards depending on the structure of your campaign. One of the great things about our leaderboard as well is that you can actually edit the name of these sections. So for example, if team or fundraiser is for whatever reason not appropriate for your campaign, you can edit that language to reflect the setup of your fundraiser. A good example here might be like a school. If a school is doing this kind of peer-to-peer fundraising, maybe they want their teams to be called classrooms and their fundraisers to be called students. They would be able to make those edits in the platform, and then that leaderboard would reflect that language update. Now, when shown, the leaderboard section will appear on the main fundraising page. A number will be displayed at the top right corner of each of the team or fundraisers, and that will reflect their ranking in the top teams or fundraisers. Supporters can also use the leaderboard as a navigation tool. So this is a way for them to get over to the correct page that they want to visit. If you're looking at the slide right now, if somebody were to click on the number one team there, they would be then taken directly over to that team's page. So it's a really great navigation tool, as well as just a visual representation of how the fundraising is going. Now, the last thing that I'm going to talk to you about today is the progress bar, which I have mentioned a little bit previously, but I'd like to spend a little time here because this is very customizable. And I think you can really use this as a tool to show not only the progress, right, of your campaign, but also the engagement, overall engagement with your campaign. In the goals section of your fundraising page, this is where you'll be given the option to customize a progress bar. So this bar is going to show you the numbers essentially for your peer-to-peer campaign. So much like an event thermometer that you may or may not have seen on some of our other types of pages, this is going to give you a graphic representation of the amount you've raised towards your goal. So if you want to show the goal, of course, you're going to show the overall amount that you are trying to reach. You're also able here to show the total raised. So how close are you to your goal, or have you met your goal already? You can change the color here, and that would change the progress bar color as well as the text discussing it, including the amount raised and the goal. So if you really wanted to pop, you can definitely make it a different color. And then you have the option here to include a donor count, which will display the current number of donors, as well as the fundraiser count, which displays the number of people who have signed up to fundraise for you. Now, donor count and fundraiser count can be shown or hidden, so that really is based on your preferences. The progress bar is great. It's going to reflect an up-to-date dynamic amount raised, so it's always updating. And donor recognition is also available in the donor tab on your campaign page. So your donors do receive a thank you and that public acknowledgement for giving, which I think we all can agree is really important. All right, I am going to pass it back over to Megan now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lori. I know we were getting a bunch of questions in the chat, so thank you all for sending those over and through the Q&A. We're hoping to be able to have some time at the end to answer some of those, but like I said earlier, for some reason, we're not able to get to all the questions. We will make sure to have your CSM follow up with you directly and help you answer those questions. I will say I personally love the ability to in-app message your team just to give fundraising updates. So if I had to pick a favorite feature, I think I would have to say it's that. But I did want to take a second and talk about some common questions that we have. We know that sometimes creating a campaign can feel a little bit daunting, especially for peer-to-peer. So I'm actually going to pass it over to Leah to answer some of those common questions that we tend to hear about peer-to-peer campaigns. Leah, go ahead.
Sure. Doesn't it take a long time to set up? It's pretty easy. It takes probably, if you haven't done it first time, it'll probably take you about an hour or two for you personally to set it up. But once it's all set up, as far as if your fundraisers are saying, is this going to take a long time for me to set up, or you're worried about people not having the technical savvy to set up their own personal fundraiser page, I like to joke around that it's easier than setting up your Tinder account. It's really like you have to enter your first name, last name, and email to set up your page. It really takes a few minutes. You can if you're doing it from your phone, you can pull a picture from your, you can take a selfie right there, or you can pull a picture from, that's already in your phone photo album. And, if you're doing the registration part, if you're doing a registration, selling tickets or whatnot, it's a really easy, seamless process where they check a box that says, I'd like to sign up to become a fundraiser. And as soon as they click submit to process the payment on their ticket, the system pulls their email, first name, last name, and email, and takes them to set up their fundraiser page. So it's really a seamless, easy 2-minute process. If for some reason you don't you have like board members that are very busy with their day jobs, you can set up pages for them. We've had elementary schools where, the parents have set up pages for their kids, or, it's really easy to set up. You can set up the team pages by yourself. You can set up the fundraiser pages on the back end. You have if one of your fundraisers sets up their own page, but maybe puts something that's not quite accurate, or puts profanity in their fundraiser page that's not representative of your brand, you can go in and clean up their page. You can edit their page on your own. So that really allows you to control the brand and the messaging that you do. The flow of registration is super easy. You either click become a fundraiser, and like I said, you put in your first name, last name, email address, and then you have the option to set up a team or set up your personal page. And there's default language in there that you can set as an organization, and somebody can either edit that, they can put in their picture. It's really a 2-minute process. And then as far as how do you get your donors engaged, this is a really great opportunity for people who have time but maybe don't have a ton of money to do more for your organization, and really incentivizing not people who bring in gifts of hundreds or thousands of dollars, but just, $5 here and there. And make sure that, use some of those gamification opportunities, some of those the communication tools that Lori went through, and it's there's a lot of really great ways to get people engaged, and we have some of those great resources that get into it really deeply.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say, Leah, is that we've shared a handful of great resources that can help you, with those templates and different ways to get your donors engaged. So thank you for sharing that. But we'll go ahead and move on. This is something that we've said, many times today, and you'll probably hear us say it many more times, but our team is here to support you and your events and your campaigns. And we just want to make sure that you have the best experience and utilize all of your options in order to be successful with your fundraising. So that's why we just wanted to take a few minutes before diving into some of our campaign examples and time for questions to just kind of review those resources with you. So before Leah goes in depth, a little bit more in depth with each of these, I just wanted to call them out and put them on one slide for you. So that way you can kind of take like a mental screenshot and see what your options are. And again, basically, we're doing everything we can to make sure that you have the most up-to-date resources and information to help you be successful within the modules. So yeah, I'll pass it to Leah and she can just give a quick overview of the Help Center, our support team, and then services. So Leah, passing it back to you.
Sorry, I was muted. We have a really great help center. It has tons and tons of resources, and part of our role over here, like in my role, is when I have a customer ask me for somebody I'm working with on a campaign, ask me for something and we don't have a resource for it, I'll go out source and I'll work with our Knowledge Center team to get that uploaded. So, we listen to our customers and we want to make sure that our Knowledge Center is most up to date and has, information to cover every single scenario. So, anytime you have a question, you can pop in here, you can search for articles. I've been with GiveSmart, before that Mobile Cause, for 5 years now. And we have webinars, 5 years of webinars. I've done lots of webinars about crowdfunding. So you can find these webinars. You can find probably like 10 different webinars about peer-to-peer and crowdfunding. And I'll probably have been on some of them from a few years ago. But we have a ton of resources beyond just the just how-tos. We have strategy and training and resources, and some of the resources we're sharing with you today also are found in the Knowledge Center. So, there's a really great depth of information. And then if you can't find what you're looking for, or it doesn't quite answer your question, please go to our support team. They will usually respond to you within an hour, but definitely within the day. And, they can help you troubleshoot problems that you may encounter. They can help provide clarifications with any, if you're having a little struggle, and help offer suggestions for the most effective way to use the software. They're really, really great. They'll respond to you pretty quickly. Yeah, and you can email them, or you use the chat in GiveSmart events, but then in GiveSmart fundraise, there's going to be a little button that says contact me, and you can send them an email through there, or you can reach any support teams from support@givesmart.com. And so I'm a manager of professional services. And what that is we are a team of Lori's a member of our team. And we're a team of former nonprofit professionals and marketing professionals and events professionals who are here to help with personal training, setup, strategy. You can talk to your account manager, and they'll and you can get us added to your contract, and we can help you with a campaign. You can see some of these stats over here on the right hand side. We've done over 2,000 personal training sessions, 750 guided implementations. That's where you get 8 hours of an advisor's time to help you set up and strategize about a campaign. And it's what does it say? 60% of GiveSmart events customers who use services raise 60% more over the year. So it's a little bit of an investment, but it really, our clients who use it, it really makes a difference, because we can really help you customize and learn about features that you might not have known about. We are always up on the latest features, and keeping abreast of the latest trends in fundraising to really help you maximize your fundraising potential.
Yeah, and thank you, Leah, for sharing that. I will say I was a previous, this is Megan speaking. I was a previous GiveSmart customer utilizing Mobile Cause before I came on the team. And I will say that there were many things that I wasn't even aware that I wasn't utilizing within the platform until I spoke with some of our services team members. So just from personal experience, I can say that I benefited from that conversation as well. So thank you, Leah, for walking us through just a quick reminder of some of those available help center articles for our team. So we do have a quick poll question. I'm going to go ahead and launch this. So for today, would you be interested in learning more about how peer-to-peer campaigns can benefit your organization? I'll go ahead and leave this open for a bit, but I just wanted to say that I, in the last few years, have seen more peer-to-peer events tied to some sort of like activity in recent months, right? We talked about some tournaments and different things like that, but I will say some of the favorite ones that I've seen that are common are like Over the Edge, where you like rappel down a building, which is so fun. I'm scared of heights, so I wouldn't do that. But then another one that I saw was a pickleball tournament. And the organization who ran that campaign was able to get the court time donated. And then they did a peer-to-peer fundraiser for the teams of 2 to fundraise like $200 for their like registration fee to participate. And then they added in a few fun gamification things like a raffle ticket for each donor who donated to their campaign. And then created a competition for the team who raised like the most money overall. They got like golden sweatbands to wear to show that they were top fundraisers. So just kind of a fun idea, something kind of funny. My coworkers are probably laughing because they know I love pickleball. But it was something that I just wanted to throw in as kind of another little fun idea. So I'm going to go ahead and end that poll. Thank you all for participating. Let me exit out of there. And then we will go ahead and move on. There we go. So we do have a few customer examples, peer-to-peer examples, and I'm going to go ahead and have Chelsea walk us through those quickly so we can leave a few minutes to hopefully answer some questions.
All right, thank you.
Oh, sorry.
So this,
Go ahead.
You really meant it. This example is for BCE Foundation. So they ran a peer-to-peer campaign for their readathon and to promote literacy and love of reading. But while also really focusing on raising funds, you can see the numbers there each year, how much they increased. 2022 was over $233,000. And this year already, they're over $200,000. So this is very successful for them. And over the years, one of the things that made them more and more successful is that they added in friendly competition among the schools, the classrooms, and the students, all these different levels of competition, and each could have their own giving page, including prizes and incentives that encourage participation. So the ideas are really endless. With peer-to-peer, you can create fun challenges between classrooms, clubs, sports teams, graduation classes. We've seen alumni groups, and even district schools like BCE did. Another great opportunity is to allow your supporters to select what or where they want to support. So our advice is to make sure they have a variety of options to give to. So consider selecting a few projects or funds to allocate donations, such as a new parking lot or an after-school program, and let them sort of self-select the cause that resonates best with them. The next example, this one is for the Women's Cancer Resource Center. I love this example because they've created so many opportunities to sort of pick your path, so to speak. And there's truly a way for everyone to participate in the way that excites them most. Plus, they raise a ton of money through this effort each year. So it's the Swim a Mile, Move a Mile for women with cancer. And it's a fun and fabulous annual event. And their participants actively raise funds for a wide range of the free programs and services offered by the Women's Cancer Resource Center in Berkeley, California. It's hosted by Mills College at Northeastern University, and it's an all ages pool party. It's at a beautiful venue, wonderful food, music, community. It's a super fun event, but it's also a hybrid event. So you can swim or move a mile at the Mills Center or Mills College, or you can choose your own adventure. So participants register for a day and time that they select during the event weekend. They ask their friends, their family, their dentist, everyone they know to make donations to the cause. And then they jump in the pool or hop on a bike or they jog or get moving otherwise. They do charge the registration fee of $35, and each swimmer, they have lots of different tiers to fit different scenarios. So each swimmer under the age of 18 is asked to raise at least $100. Adult swimmers are expected to raise $250 each. And then they have an elevated tier. So children who raise more than $250 and adults who raise more than $1,000 before event weekend also receive a prize at the pool. So yeah, just a lot of different paths. You can see in 2022, they were over 325,000, smashing their goal. And then 2021 was even bigger, 476,000. So really fun event, lots of engagement in person or virtually. It's a hybrid format. And again, the thing that makes it so successful too is that there's so many options for how they can participate. So it fits anybody's preference, really. So for VC Foundation, they host this day of giving. This is in that time-based approach that we talked about. It's just a 24-hour window. So it's like a hyper-focused time frame. They feature a few different projects for donors to choose to support and fund, and each project has its own fundraising goals. So again, allowing that pick your path, what speaks to you the most, is really successful for them. And I love that they added in the custom questions section to indicate a gift in honor or in memory of an individual, and especially that why I donate comment section to really engage and inspire. And you can see they didn't quite hit their goal, but they still did very well. And they continue to run a variety of peer-to-peer campaigns throughout the year, this organization. So those are three really good examples that have been successful in real life. It's always good to see something live.
Yes, thank you, Chelsea. And then I know that Kelsey had dropped a link to a guide also in the chat. So hopefully you guys will be able to look at some of those examples as well within that guide. So just quickly, I wanted to say thank you for staying with us today. I know we only have a few minutes left, but we're going to try to answer 2 or 3 questions, but we value your time as much as you value it. So we understand if you have to drop off, but I just wanted to let you guys know that. So again, we shared a lot of information today, talking through best practices for peer-to-peer, covering a few different features. And that was a lot of information in a short time. So I'm going to go ahead and move over to our question section, and I'm just going to read a few of these out loud for my team members. Let me scroll and find one. So one question that came in was, if someone sets up multiple payments on a campaign, which I'm assuming we're talking about reoccurring giving there, and that campaign ends, do the multiple payments continue to go through, or does it end when the campaign ends? Lori, I think you had an answer to that, or Leah, I believe.
I can answer that. Any recurring gifts that are set up for a specific campaign will continue to come through the platform, even if the campaign ends. So as long as the campaign exists on the site, the donations will continue to come in under that keyword for your reporting purposes. That's how you would see those. We also have a specific recurring giving report and section on the site where you can see those as well.
Perfect. Thank you for answering that. And then one other question that I wanted to ask as well. Sorry, I'm scrolling to find it. So someone said, I use Fundraise to create lots of custom forms with custom questions. Do I lose any functions or features when building a peer-to-peer or crowdfunding campaign? From my experience, I would say no, not at all. Your Fundraise functionality stays the same when you're creating a peer-to-peer campaign. Leah or Lori, I didn't know if there was anything you wanted to add to that.
No, I would agree 100%. All of the forms, the primary functions of the forms, be it a text to donate form or a peer-to-peer donation form, all of the same fields are available, as well as the ability to add those custom fields and custom questions. If anything, there's just a couple of extra bonus features on the peer-to-peer side. So yes, I would say they're relatively similar. You can use the forms in the same, they have the same functionality.
Great. Thank you for adding that. And then the final question for today, because I know we're now a minute over, so thank you all for staying with us. Can I create an event landing page within Fundraise for my peer-to-peer campaign, or would just having a peer-to-peer campaign page be best? I have my thoughts on this, but Lori or Leah, I defer to you guys if you have anything you wanted to add around that.
So the fewer clicks that somebody can do, the better. So a lot of times it's better just to have that peer-to-peer fundraising landing page. But if you're having a campaign with a lot of different elements, like some of my university clients will have like a, you know, I don't know, they'll have a big reunion event where they're doing peer-to-peer fundraising, and they're having a party, and they're doing some other fundraising activities. And so if you have a bunch of different activities going on in addition to peer-to-peer fundraising, we have a brand new campaign landing page that's coming out very soon. A lot of people have been asking for this, and it will incorporate all the donations made on a page, whether they're from peer-to-peer fundraising, ticket sales, any activities, and they'll be put onto one campaign landing page, which is really exciting. It looks exactly like an event page.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. We've been asking for this for a long time because a lot of people do have these big events with multiple different elements. But if you're just doing one straightforward peer-to-peer page, there's no need to have your donor do an extra click to get to the from the event page to the peer-to-peer page.
Yeah, that was my thought too. When I was working for a nonprofit, it was like the less clicks it takes, the better chance of conversion, right? So yeah, that was great. But yeah, thank you guys for participating today and for joining. And thank you all who stayed with us. Please participate in our post-webinar survey. We really want your feedback so that way we can incorporate it into future calls. And we wish you the best of luck with your upcoming peer-to-peer campaigns and your upcoming events and other campaigns. Take care and have a great rest of your day. Thanks all.